Good evening, dear friends. Finally, it's time to talk about your feet. The bunion on the big toe is a common issue, but interestingly, not in every country. There are places where this condition is almost non-existent. Can you guess which countries these are? Whoever answers fastest in the comments will get a personal shout out from me. Missed your chance? Here's the answer: countries where most people walk barefoot or wear open-toed shoes. The primary cause of this big toe deformity is related to footwear, but not entirely. Today, we'll explore how footwear contributes to this issue and what additional factor plays a role. When these two factors combine, the deformity develops. This condition is called hallux valgus, where the big toe shifts and a bump forms on the side of the foot. For this to occur, two specific conditions must be present. To solve the problem, both must be addressed. After all, most people wear non-ergonomic shoes, but not everyone develops this deformity. Take a look at these images. They show what happens when the big toe deforms. The metatarsal bone, which should align with the others, shifts sideways. Normally, the bones are straight, but here, this one shifts. The main culprit is improperly fitted shoes. This is the primary factor. So, as you can see, this is the shape of our feet. Everyone has different foot shapes. Some people are luckier than others. Some have shorter big toes, while others have longer ones. A longer big toe increases the risk, especially when they wear ill-fitting shoes. Why? Because the toe starts to shift sideways. Most shoes sold in stores don't match the natural shape of the foot. Shoes are usually tapered at the toes, while our feet are shaped differently. Have you noticed how many shoes look this way? Most shoes are shaped like this, but our feet have a natural shape like this. These are the types of shoes that suit our feet. Functional shoes may not be the most stylish, but they're better for your health. Still, a young woman, say 25 or 18 years old, might not prioritize health over appearance as long as there's no pain. No woman would find such shoes appealing, and you can wear such shoes as long as your health permits. But what happens in this case? The toes are squeezed together. The joint at the base of the big toe repeatedly rubs against the edge of the shoe. See what happens to our toes in this position. Here they are, straight, well-aligned, and neat. Some people's feet recover after removing the shoes. The toes return to their natural position. And now look here, see what's happening? The big toe shifts, seemingly without direction. Each toe overlaps the other in this way. They end up in this position. As they say, beauty comes at a cost. Here it is, gradually transforming into a paw-like shape. Over time, the joint itself starts to sustain damage. This constant rubbing leads to inflammation and deformation. However, not everyone goes through this. Some people's feet endure this, and once they remove their shoes, their toes return to their natural position. And then there are those whose toes remain in that position. What makes the difference? Here, you can see a few muscles that I've outlined for you in advance. These are the muscles that move the big toe and stabilize its position. Let me explain two key terms: abduction and adduction. I'll demonstrate on the hand. The same movements occur in the foot, just on a smaller scale. The abductor muscle moves the limb to the side, while the adductor brings it back to the opposite side. The thumb's abductor moves it to the side, while the adductor brings it back. The same applies to our foot. We also have two adductor muscles, the transverse adductor and the oblique adductor. It's actually one muscle with two parts, which we'll treat as separate, the transverse and the oblique. These two parts move the big toe from one position to another while also preventing it from shifting. In this case, the transverse part of the adductor muscle plays a larger role than the oblique. However, it has lost its tone, weakened, and can no longer stabilize the bones effectively. Additionally, the connective tissue gradually stretches as a result of this muscle weakness. When this muscle fails to perform its function, it begins to stretch, causing the bone to shift to the side. Add improper footwear to the mix, and the problem worsens significantly. Nothing good will come of it from that point on. What does our footwear do? It applies pressure, displacing the toe, while the weakened muscle fails to hold the bone in place. The force shifts to this part of the foot, the support area, causing it to displace sideways, which is problematic. This alters the foot's position, the toe's angle, and even the configuration of the joint. The joint surfaces become misaligned. The shifting joint surfaces lead to inflammation. Ultimately, a misaligned big toe can no longer generate force effectively. This disrupts how weight is distributed across the foot, impairing its natural movement and support. The full step length is shortened, which also affects the tension in the lumbar muscles. This can lead to weakness in the gluteal muscles. As a result, the muscles cannot function at their full capacity. On the outer side of the foot, we see the abductor muscle, the muscle responsible for moving the big toe away from the midline. Together with two adductor muscles, they ensure the correct position of the big toe. If you already have this problem, the first step is to change your shoes. There are options that look good and are closer to barefoot-style footwear. This type of footwear, often called orthopedic shoes, should match the natural shape of your foot. Imagine wearing gloves that squeeze your fingers together. See how they crumple. Now think of your foot in a similar position. What could you do with such hands? Give it a try. You wouldn't be able to hold a spoon, write comments, or even give likes. The same principle applies to your feet. While we don't rely on our feet as much as our ancestors did for climbing, hunting, gathering bananas, or wrapping our tails around trees, they still need to function as a support. The muscles in our feet remain the same. Even if you don't use them, respect them. Respect the legacy of our ancestors, who used their toes for purposes we may never fully understand. We may not know how they use their toes, but we should still respect them. But imagine if evolution had taken a different path. What if we had descended from horses, for instance? Or perhaps from other animals. But let's settle on horses for now. We'd have sturdy hooves and no such problems. Instead, we have intricate feet with many small bones. They require care. To address this, these muscles must be trained. You've likely watched countless videos on this topic. For some people, these methods work. For others, they don't. So what causes these muscles to weaken? Why did they stop working when most people wear the same types of shoes? Size matters here. To ensure your shoes fit correctly, remove the insole and place your foot on it. There should be at least half a centimeter of space between your big toe and the edge of the insole. Don't neglect this step. It prevents unnecessary squeezing. However, improper shoes don't affect everyone equally. Why is that? The issue arises when the nerve supplying these muscles loses its signal. Curious viewers might ask, which nerve is responsible? The answer, the sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve, as you may know, is an extension of the sacral nerve. From here, a thorough investigation begins. Like a detective solving an intricate case, we need to identify the level of nerve impairment. Detectives must gather evidence as the investigation continues. Let's start at the top. Perhaps the issue originates at the level of the pectoral muscle. What happens then? The entire leg begins to weaken. This would affect the gluteal muscles, hamstrings, and everything below. Perhaps the same issue occurs at the level of the biceps femoris. The calf muscles might weaken, while the thigh flexors partially compensate. But this doesn't fit if the issue is isolated to the foot. Where could it be? What's next? And here we identify the culprit behind all this chaos. Finally, we arrive at the main suspect, the retinaculum. Surprised? The retinaculum is a connective tissue structure. It's not my invention, that's simply its name. This structure acts as a retainer, holding the flexor tendons of the big toe and the other toes in place. It's similar to a ligament composed of connective tissue. The retinaculum is located near the medial ankle and extends to the foot bones. Beneath it lies a small canal known as the tarsal canal. Under this retinaculum, or holder, pass the tendons, an artery, and a nerve. Within the tendons of the toe flexors and the tendon of the posterior large muscle lies a major nerve, which branches out and provides innervation to the surrounding areas. Underneath this structure, there's a small channel, a passageway through which arteries, nerves, and tendons travel. When this area is stretched or compressed, everything inside it becomes constricted. So, what can be done? Training and exercises for these muscles are essential, but they'll only be effective if you first release the tension in the retinaculum, the connective tissue acting as a retainer. Now, I'll show you how to do that. Before beginning any exercises, start by addressing this tension. Many people find that once the retinaculum is released, the muscles regain tone on their own. You may even notice the big toe naturally shifting slightly back into its correct position. Here's what you need to do. Where should you apply pressure? You shouldn't press directly on the nerve. Instead, locate the area on the foot bones, just below the medial ankle. You're looking for a tender spot. It's located slightly below the ankle, near where the heel connects to the foot. Press gently with your fingers, moving slightly to the side until you find the sore area. This area isn't directly under the ankle, but a little lower, where the retinaculum attaches to the foot bones. Let me demonstrate. The tendons of the gastrocnemius muscle pass under this retinaculum, along with arteries and the sciatic nerve. We don't touch anything here. All of this runs just beneath the ankle, arteries, tendons, and the sciatic nerve. We don't touch that area. Instead, focus on the part located slightly below it. This section, where it attaches to the metatarsal bone, is the area we will focus on. Gently massage the area using your fingers. You may feel some discomfort, but don't apply excessive pressure. Start with short sessions of about 10 to 15 seconds. Over time, you'll notice increased muscle tone in the big toe, making it easier for your foot to function properly. That's the first step. Now, let's move on. After relaxing the retinaculum, you can work on the muscles themselves. For the transverse muscle, which helps move the big toe, use small diameter balls for targeted pressure. This muscle is located near the base of the toes, where they begin to grow from the foot. And here, in this spot, see? This is where your toes are positioned on the foot. Place the ball in this area, just beneath the knuckles of the toes. Hold the ball in one spot, then move it to a second and third point, working out the entire area. Secondly, focus on working out the projection of deeper muscles in this area. This includes the deepest layer of muscles. You'll need to address it as well. These two, right here. Target the muscle that moves the big toe. It runs along this line, so you'll want to roll it out gently. Place the ball on the floor, position your foot on it, and sit down comfortably. Relax, perhaps while watching TV or reading. Hold the ball on one point, this may feel tender, then move it to the next point, and then the third. Work on the outer surface of the foot as well, holding each point for up to a minute. If a specific area feels more sore, spend more time there. By working these muscles, you'll improve blood flow, release spasms, and prepare them for the next step, strengthening. Next, we need to return the big toe to its natural position. What should we do to address this? You'll need a rubber resistance band, preferably a circular one. Lie down and loop the band around one big toe. Place the rubber band on the other big toe, ensuring it's securely positioned. Spread your feet apart slowly, allowing the band to pull your toes outward. And the rubber band, do you see what it does? It pulls your big toe outward to the side. This tension will help correct the inward bend of your big toe and guide it back to a straight position. While doing this, relax and engage in any activity, watch TV, read, or simply think. Over time, the muscles begin to stretch. Dedicate your time to this in the following way. Start with 1 minute and gradually increase to 2 or 3 minutes. There's no need to exceed 5 minutes. In this position, your toe gradually shifts to the side. You may also consider using orthopedic devices designed to separate the toes. These devices can help maintain proper alignment, but they need to fit comfortably in your shoes. If you don't have suitable shoes, where would you wear them? You'll only be able to wear them at home. If you spend 23 hours a day in regular shoes and only wear these for an hour at home, they won't make much of a difference. Keep watching to learn what to do next. Now that we've relaxed a bit, let's move on. What's next? You're already starting to save money. If you've got some rubber bands at home, or even a hair tie if someone in your house has long hair, you're ready to start. Since your muscles are weak right now, a light rubber band will be enough to begin with. For pulling exercises, you'll need something stronger later, but for now, this will do. Lie down comfortably. Spread your toes and stretch the rubber band around them. Now pull the rubber band inward with your toe, bringing it back, releasing, and repeating. It might feel impossible. The muscles won't respond right away. But after a few days of training, you'll start to notice progress. On the first day, you might manage just a slight movement, barely pulling it. By the third day, things will improve. Gradually, your muscles will get stronger, and you'll be able to repeat the movement more quickly and effectively. This exercise strengthens both the transverse and oblique adductor muscles. What else can you do? What are some variations of these exercises? Take a look. We've stretched the rubber band like this and started moving our toes up and down while maintaining the tension. What else can you do? Once the band is stretched, try moving your foot downward and upward, repeating the motion. Start with a thinner rubber band, and as your muscles strengthen, you can move on to a thicker one. Next, take the same rubber band, stretch it, and fix it depending on the length and width of your foot. Secure it on your toes or another suitable spot to keep it in place. Now, your task is to move your toe outward. Move it once, hold it briefly, repeat. Once, hold, repeat. This exercise trains the muscle that moves the big toe. Hold the position statically, then add up and down movements to further engage the muscle. This set of exercises targets the main movement, but small variations can also be added. For example, you can use orthopedic interdigital separators between your toes and wear them throughout the day. If you're already experiencing issues, switch to proper footwear. And make sure to regularly and gently work on relaxing the retinaculum. Move it slightly up and down. This area is located just beneath the ankle. Be careful not to press too hard, as it could strain the nerves further and worsen the situation. Well, friends, we've explored the world of interdigital spaces and learned how to strengthen and care for our feet. Keep up with sports, help your parents, and stay active. Until next time. It won't be long.